Hi, I'm RDCreek of LifeWorks, and welcome to 5 Secrets to Effective Communication. Today we're going to talk about how you can be an effective communicator. This comes from the series of 6 Secrets, How Life Works, so I'm glad you could be here today. A friend of mine, David Shelton, who I write about in my new book, Mixed Nuts, was a wonderful vocalist, a tremendous Broadway actor, and a gifted mind. Yet one of David's greatest gifts and one of his best talents was when someone was talking to him, David listened to every word. Nothing escaped his ears or his eyes when someone was talking to David. You always knew you had David's undivided attention. Today, though, the vast majority of people by nature have a fascination with their own voice, don't they? There's quite a bit of difference when you talk about communication, though, between talking and listening. Webster defines hearing as the faculty of perceiving sounds. My hope is that today you're doing more than just hearing me talk and hearing a sound. Whereas listening, as Webster defines it, is to take notice of and to act on what someone says. Well, people with really good, effective communication skills know when to talk and they know when to listen. A great communicator is really a great listener. Everybody knows how to talk, but sometimes we're really in the dark when it comes to listening. Isn't it interesting that when kids go to school, they go to speech class? Have you ever heard of a kid who went to a listening class? Most people know how to talk, but really have a difficult time when it comes to listening. So let's talk about the 5 secrets to being an effective communicator. Secret number 1, respect. Remember that just because you're respectful in the middle of a conversation doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be in an agreement with what the other person's saying. In fact, because you are listening well, you might discover that you have vast differences. But showing respect is what helps you listen to the other person's point of view. Perhaps you might just learn something. Secret number 2, willingness. Be willing to communicate, and remember that communication is often challenging, but by talking and listening, you actually go personally, and you're in better control, and you're showing patience. You know as well as I do, no two people communicate in the same exact way. Everybody uses different words, everybody has different inflection, everybody has different methods of body language. So remember that demonstrating good communication skills puts you in a much better position. Secret number 3, patience. Being an effective communicator shows that you demonstrate patience. When you're communicating with others, always give them the time to speak about their issues. I once had a former boss, a vice president of our department, who was notorious. Everyone knew that he always finished everybody else's sentences. He never let anybody get out a thought. Well, when you do that, you're doing a couple of things. You're telling the other person you really don't care what it is they have to say, and you're showing a lack of respect. Many people's communication skills break down on the side where they're impatient, either in a rush to hurry the conversation, or they want to say the other person's lines for them. Do yourself a favor when you're communicating with people. Take a deep breath and remember that no two people communicate the same. Secret number 4, watch your body language. Whenever you cross your arms and look at somebody, you're putting up a wall. Or if you just happen to be looking around the room when the other person's talking, you're saying, you know, I'm really not interested in what you have to say. Or if you slouch, you're in a meeting, and you're just kind of looking off into space, you've effectively said, I'm not present. Watch your body language. Watch your eye contact. Listen to the inflection of your voice, and be sure that you're fully engaged when you're communicating with another person. Secret number 5, learn to become an active listener. Listening is much more than speaking, and listening is much more than just hearing. When asked about this, the political humorist Will Rogers, which is more important, talking or listening? And Rogers thought for a moment, and then he said, well, I guess you'd have to say listening. After all, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. The more you practice becoming an active listener, the more skills you develop, the more capable you become, and how well of a communicator you are. There is a wonderful story about President Franklin Roosevelt. He noticed that after events and dinners, when there was a receiving line and he could greet people, that no one was really listening to what he was saying. After thinking about it for a while, Roosevelt decided to try his own social experiment. As people came by and shook his hand, Roosevelt looked up at them and said, I killed my grandmother. Person after person came by. I killed my grandmother. Mr. President, thank you for having me tonight. It was a delight. I killed my grandmother. And no one heard what he was saying until the Colombian ambassador came. And Roosevelt looked at him and said, I killed my grandmother. And the ambassador leaned over and whispered in his ear, Mr. President, she probably had it coming. It's a great story. It's a funny story, but it really proved the point that out of that whole receiving line, only one person was really listening to what the President of the United States was saying. Learn how to become an active listener, to be involved in when people are speaking to you. So let's review 5 secrets to becoming an effective communicator. 1, respect the other person who's speaking to you. 2, be willing to hear what the other person has to say. You don't have to agree, but be willing to hear what they have to say. Number 3, be patient. Give people time to speak. Don't finish their thoughts. Number 4, watch your body language and your eye contact. Let people know that you're engaged. And number 5, listen. Don't let your mind wander. Be active in hearing what the other person has to say. If you'd like me to come and speak at an engagement that you may be having, I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me at area code 402-391-4364, or you can email me at rdcreek@cox.net. And be sure to go to my Facebook page, The LifeWorks Coach, and like me there. Now go out and make your life work.